Hey, how's it going guys? Today we're going to be learning about some of the do's and don'ts of drawing eyes. Now there are a whole bunch of different ways to draw them, but there are some general rules that will help your drawings to look way better. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over some of the most common mistakes beginner artists make and how to fix them. I'll be revealing to you the one simple shape that you can use to draw any kind of eye in any kind of style you like. I'll even be showing you how to draw the other eye. It's time to get learnt. Oh yeah. So here's how not to draw the eye. This is going to be the main example I'll be using of what not to do throughout the video. And so if your eye drawings look like this, don't feel bad. We've all drawn eyes like this at some point in our lives. I know I have. And the good news is that these are all really easily fixable mistakes. So let's get right into it. Eyes come in all different shapes and sizes. So naturally there's a lot of different shapes that you can use to draw the eye. However, there is one shape in particular I'm going to recommend you avoid, and it's this one. It's sort of like this perfectly symmetrical football shape. And you might be thinking, what's wrong with that? Well, generally eyes aren't symmetrical. And when you draw them like this, they actually look really unnatural and static, like there's no life in them. Eyes actually tend to be a little bit asymmetrical and usually aren't as round as you might think. So that brings us to the one shape that's gonna help you out loads with this issue. I want you to start thinking of the eye as being more like a rounded dominant-sided triangle instead of an oval. Now this is a very exaggerated example of this shape. I'll be showing off some less extreme examples in a sec, but I found that keeping this triangle shape in mind when drawing eyes has helped me out so much, and I'm sure it'll be super helpful to you too. So there's a couple of different reasons for using this shape. Firstly, it's easy to draw. Secondly, it gives our eye a much more natural, organic shape. And thirdly, it's extremely versatile. Whether you want to draw more realistic eyes or anime styled eyes, for example, you can use this general shape. You can practice this shape by drawing in 3 dots to represent the corners of the triangle, and then you can connect the dots, kind of like those dot-to-dot puzzles we used to do as kids. Depending on where you place the dots and how curved or straight you choose to make the lines will greatly change the appearance of the eye. Now you might be thinking, these aren't really triangular in shape, but what you're going to be doing is building off that triangle shape as a foundation. So a common mistake beginners make when drawing eyelashes is that they draw each individual hair strand. And this just looks strange. Generally, it looks a lot nicer if you group the eyelashes together instead. You can start off by simply drawing the eyelash as one shape, and then you can add in some individual lashes. I like to group them together like this, starting off thicker at the base and gradually getting thinner at the ends. Something to pay attention to also is the direction of the eyelashes. You see in the first example how I just drew the eyelashes as straight lines? What you want to do instead is draw the lashes curved. Also, if you want to go for some simpler eyelashes, you can always just keep it as a single shape. So the problem in this example is that the iris is completely visible, making the eye look perpetually surprised. Usually, a relaxed eye will have at least some of the iris being covered by the eyelid. Now this doesn't mean you can't draw the iris completely visible, but you generally want to reserve it for when the character is perhaps angry, scared, or shocked. Now the more stylized you draw the eyes, like anime style for instance, it's not so much of an issue. So eyelids are pretty simple, they usually just follow the curvature of the eye. Depending on how high or low you place them can give a bit of a different look. There's not much to explain, so I'll just put in some drawings I did of different types of eyelids you can use as reference. You've got the double eyelid, the triple eyelid, the tapered eyelid, the hooded eyelid, and then finally you've got the monolid. A common mistake some people make when drawing the eye from a side profile is that they draw the pupil at the very front. When you look at a real eye from this angle, you'll actually notice that the pupil sits further back into the eyeball. When you're drawing the iris side on, the pupil actually dips in. You can pretend the iris and pupil are like a satellite dish. A really easy way to give your eyes some life is by adding a strong shadow at the top of the iris. This indicates the shadow being cast from the upper eyelid and eyelashes. Anything you draw or paint really comes to life when you add contrast between dark and light. Adding a highlight or two will also bring some much needed life into those eyes. You can play it simple with just one circular highlight, or perhaps 2, or even a gazillion different shaped highlights if you want. So the funny thing is that drawing the eye isn't actually the hard part. It's drawing the other eye that's the real challenge. So here's some tips to help you draw the other eye so that they actually match. The eyes are really one of the most important features of a person, and if you get them wrong, it can look funny, no matter how good the rest of your drawing is. So here's a don't for you. Don't complete one eye and then start drawing the other. Instead, gradually build them both up together. Get the rough shape drawn out for both first, then add each bit of detail, going back and forth between the two. If you really want to make sure the eyes line up, you can rule up 3 lines to help you out. The middle line you'll use to build the eyes off of, and the top and bottom lines will be used as a way to compare and make sure the eyes are roughly the same size. Another thing to note is that the eyes are usually 1 eye length in distance apart. If you go too close or too far apart, they can look a little bit funny. If you're working digitally, you can flip the canvas to spot any strong asymmetry. And if you're drawing traditionally, you can stand in front of a mirror, and that'll help you to spot any major differences. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!